Okay, I'm gonna get a clean one. Here we go. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. Irish wristwatch, Irish wristwatch. Rubber baby buggy bumpers. Okay.
Your announcer voice is very, very good.
Thank you.
They can't take that away from you.
Hello and welcome to In Ouvre Our Heads presents Chronicles of Nanarnia.
I'll kill that plumber!
Great. A building with athlete's foot. Must have been a bad couple of weeks. Trust the fungus.
Hello, friends. So, Chronicles of Nanarnia is the spin-off sister podcast companion piece, spiritual successor simultaneously to In Ouvre Our Heads presents Stephen Heeeelllloooooo and Season 2 In Ouvre Our Heads presents... in this one, we'll be taking more of
Have we said that yet? I don't think we revealed that.
I said it
yet.
now. In this one, we're taking less of a seasonal approach, more of, kind of like an anthology piece to it, where just when we feel like it, looking at movies that are so bad they're good. So to explain the title, in case you're confused, Chronicles of Nanarnia, fantasy book series by C.S. Lewis, and the pun there being Nanar, which is, I believe, originated from the French, a crappy movie, one that is so bad it is good. So this is just a time where we watched a lot of Seagal movies that were so bad, they were bad, you'd hope they were good, and then you were just bored, and you watched
Never were.
50 of them.
Or irritated. Just
And
incredibly
it
frustrated.
sucked.
More often than not.
So here we're having a bit of fun. This is so bad they're good. We're going to go through all of them, all the big ones, all the ones that you know, all the ones that you've heard, like, oh, that movie's like so bad that you're supposed to just start cracking up laughing when you're watching. We're going to cover it here eventually if we get around to it. It's whatever we're feeling. And in this episode,
the very first, the inaugural episode of Chronicles of Nanarnia, we are talking about the one, the only, the nexus of the Stephen Heeeelllloooooo universe. 1993's live-action Super Mario Bros.
Not the Chris Pratt one that completely
Not the Chris Pratt
obliterated
one,
not the recent one
the
that
world's
you
memory
can
of
easily
Super
find.
Mario
Find
Brothers.
this thing online is very difficult.
For some reason.
Now,
Can't imagine.
It was fun.
I had
It
a
was
great
so fun
time.
to watch. This is great. And I don't even know. I guess it's not like a good movie in that
It's got problems.
It's, yeah. But I also don't know. I don't feel this is so bad it's good. This is just fun. It was a fun time. It was a fun ride. That's all I got. I don't know.
To understand the mind of Hans, I just want to parse out what happens in that last sentence. So you said when I was watching this, it wasn't a good movie, but I had fun, so I don't think it's so bad it's good. But this bad movie was fun and good. Is what you're saying.
Okay, so the classic example. What's the classic example of Nanar? You have the room and
Birdemic.
what's the Birdemic? Yeah, those are so bad it's good because it's awful, it's terrible, and it's hilarious to watch because it's terrible. This wasn't good, but it's fun to watch because it's fun to watch, not because it's terrible. I don't know.
Not good.
I'm not gonna fight it. It is what it is. But it was a fun movie. And
I had a
time
great
watching it.
time.
A much better
Definitely fun.
time than I thought.
Oh, so fun.
Yeah,
So much better
And
than any Seagal we've watched recently.
Oh, yeah, way better than any Seagal movie I've ever seen. I've seen all of them.
Miles ahead of any of the garbage that we have consumed over the past
Year and
a half.
Yeah. What a
God,
time.
that's a long time. That's
We were
so
supposed to be
long.
home by Christmas.
It's
That
so
did
many.
not happen.
It didn't happen. We
It was
couldn't do
never gonna
it.
happen.
I am going to say, in a rare twist of events, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to get out ahead of this.
Okay.
Yeah.
You should watch this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, you should watch
Everybody
this
should
one.
watch
Yeah,
this
this was
movie.
great. Yeah.
Everyone
No, I
should.
had a fun
There's
time.
not anything that I can suggest that you watch instead of this movie. You should just watch this movie because it's just great.
You know
it's
what?
fun.
Pause this podcast. Go
watch it.
the 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray of this movie that I'm sure exists,
Yeah.
and then come back, and we'll
Yeah.
all have a good time. Us, your good friends. We'll all sit and we'll all talk about this movie. Well, you won't talk. You'll listen. You'll listen to us talk. You'll listen to us explain this movie, and we'll have a great time.
So, what actually happens?
So in this movie, this is the the beginning of this movie is surprisingly, I shouldn't say surprisingly because this obviously came first, but the beginning of this movie is very similar to the beginning of the Chris Pratt Super Mario
actually,
Bros.
weirdly
movie.
enough,
They-
very
they took a lot of
more
inspiration
similar
from this
than you would
one.
think.
So wait a second. Here's the thing. I've not seen the Chris Pratt Super Mario
Oh.
Brothers movie.
Well, the beginning of this one is very similar to the beginning of
It's
that one.
basically
Okay.
the same setup.
They find a magical portal underneath Brooklyn, and weirdly, this one is actually more descriptive of why it exists.
Yeah.
So you start this movie, you start Super Mario Bros. They're plumbers in Brooklyn, failing business. They're getting outbid by people who have more money, better advertising, whatever.
Scapelli.
It's the Capelli. Like who's set up as the main villain, but is really just an evil businessman who gets turned into a chimp at the end of the movie for fun. I feel like we're gonna waste our time. This is not worth.
Well, what if we
through.
just do like a rough synopsis, not even a plot? Like,
Yeah, don't run through the whole plot. Just like give
Yeah.
the very
So
basic
there's-
arc
Funny.
here.
Scapelli Industries came across fossils digging in Brooklyn, and it turns out that these fossils aren't like any dinosaurs that anybody has known yet. So they have a team of people in there digging up these fossils, and the woman in charge of the dig, it turns out she's Princess Daisy from the Super Mario Bros. Universe,
Peach.
which is
Not
an
Peach.
alternate, not Peach. And what did I had it written down because they said it was a parallel universe to Earth created when the meteorite hit Earth and killed all of the dinosaurs. So the dinosaurs evolved into humans, reptile humans in the parallel universe. They know their history. They're very well aware of their history, and that like humans evolving from apes like stole their resources somehow. So their whole thing is that they need to get this missing shard of the meteorite back so that they can invade our universe and steal all of our resources.
Yeah, if you can reassemble the meteorite, you can open a portal between dimensions.
and also
Right.
Daisy, who is the daughter of the king, is the only one strong enough to put that piece of the meteorite back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if anybody's familiar with Futurama and not this, where Leela is an alien presented to an orphanage, like because her parents wanted to give her a better life because they're mutants. This is the same thing. Princess Daisy's parents took her to Earth to hide her and this shard of the meteorite from the evil people in the dinosaur
She
universe.
was raised by nuns.
She's raised by nuns. So that's the whole thing. It's just a fight between the two, and the Super Mario Bros. Jump through a portal underneath Brooklyn into this universe, and they have to fight to keep that from happening. And it's just fun. It's just fun.
Although, the first point I think that we need to make about this movie is how, maybe, you can call it experimentation, you can call it thinking outside the box, whatever you want. How little, I can't even say this is a bad Super Mario Brothers movie. It's not a Super Mario Brothers movie.
Okay, I want to say something about that, actually.
Okay.
I want to...
Do
So,
it.
before I watched the movie, I watched Patrick H. Willems'
Okay.
newest video, which is about the Super Mario Brothers movie.
What?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
About this one?
But the one we just watched.
Okay.
And he was talking about video game adaptations, as films. And the Super Mario Brothers movie, it's a very early video game adaptation movie.
Right.
And it has basically, as he put it, basically nothing to do with the Super Mario Brothers video games as they existed in 1993.
Yes.
Nothing to do with those things.
And as they exist now. It didn't suddenly
So-
become more accurate in the last 30 years.
So when I was watching it, I was expecting there to be basically nothing. I was surprised by how many Mario references there were in the movie.
Well, okay,
There were
'cause you're not
quite a
wrong.
few.
You're not wrong, but the reason I say it's not a Super Mario Bros. Movie, it has the names of things, even the name of the movie Super Mario Bros. Movie, and then you see the names of things from Mario
Yeah.
movies, but they are not representative.
Okay, but you
No, no,
also
no,
have
no.
to keep in mind the Super Mario Brothers universe in terms of like what the video games had in 1993 is not what we had. Like you have
Okay,
to put
Hans, you
yourself
wanna
in
know a
that
fun
mindset.
fact?
They took those concepts. They took concepts from the game and decided to turn it into something that would work in real life.
Okay, Hans, you
And
want to
it
know
kinda
something?
works.
I did keep that in mind. This movie came out in 1993. At this point, you had the core Super Mario Brothers 1 through 3. Of course, you know, the arcade
Yeah.
ones that came out before that. You had Super Mario World, and you had Super Mario Land 1 and 2. And I know that the original video game series was kind of in a wonky time where they were like truly making it up as you go along. You're like, oh, why is Super Mario Brothers 2, at least on the American version, super different? And you're like, oh, because they just like took another game and reskinned it. And they didn't know what they were doing, and they're just like throwing stuff at the wall. But this movie was very specifically made like at the exact moment that Mario was figured out and crystallized, and like this was the most recent Mario game that came out before this was Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo. This came out exactly like the production on this started the exact nanosecond Mario like was crystallized and fleshed out and like kind of done being whatever it is at the time.
Okay, yes,
So-
fleshed out and done being whatever it was at that time.
Here's the thing.
But given that context, they just took those concepts that they had and tried to turn them into something that would work in like a real life setting.
Can I? So
It-
there was
it tracks.
There was one specific moment that made
Don't
me
give me
think,
that face.
There was one specific moment that made me think this is much more of a Mario Brothers movie than I thought it would be.
Okay.
Because what I had heard, like I said, not just from Patrick H. Willems, which you should go watch that video, it's really good, but from like everybody who had seen
Your
this movie
homework.
and talked about it, is that it had basically nothing to do with the Super Mario Brothers. But the reason I am kind of pushing back against that is because the finale fight between Mario and King Koopa is fought on a bridge. It's a linear fight across a bridge where King Koopa is in a levitating bucket platform kind of thing, shooting fireballs down at Mario. And Mario defeats King Koopa by destroying the bridge and then jumping on top of the thing that is holding King Koopa from which he shoots fireballs, which is exactly how the Super Mario Brothers games end. That's how you defeat King Koopa.
I want to be very clear. There are these cute little references that I did find to be cute little references. But my question is, if you just randomly assigned everything a new name, if instead of calling them Goombas, they were just T-Rexes. If like they said, oh, you know what, 65 million years ago, an asteroid hit the city, so this movie is called Asteroid City, and it wasn't called Super Mario Brothers. If their main characters' names weren't Mario and Luigi and Daisy, if they like got rid of the random like neon signs that say like the Bob Bomb Bar and like, you know, whatever. If you took the names of those things out, would you watch
wouldn't
this?
matter.
No, shut up. Would you watch this and think, oh, that was a Super Mario Brothers
If you
movie?
took the name, if you took the Halo TV show that was made, however, like last year or 2 years ago, and you changed all of the names, and his name wasn't Master Chief, and the helmet looked
then
ever
I'd
so
still
slightly
be like,
different.
oh, it's
They
a
changed all
guy
the
in
names.
green
You
power
look at that
armor
thing.
shooting the aliens that look like the Covenant. It's still Halo
That's
is
every sci-fi
no
universe.
Halo isn't
They're
even the
all
best.
like
Halo
that.
isn't the best example because Halo also like does like some weird changes that make it not accurate to the source material at all. I think a better comparison.
So that's what I'm
okay,
saying.
No, let's
like
like
this,
Fallout.
you're criticizing it for that, but this is not a problem.
No, but it's like if they relabeled
movie.
it, if it wasn't called Fallout, you'd still watch it and be like, oh, I'm watching like a Fallout inspired show.
So here's a kind of a point in both of our favor. I'll take a middle position.
Okay.
Ever
And
the neutral.
I would say if like all the names were different, just like exact same movie, but just changed like some of the words that people say. So they don't say Goomba, they don't say King Koopa, they don't say Mario and Luigi Mario. I would think this is like a fun 90s like adventure movie with like a lot of references to Super Mario Brothers for weird reasons. Like
See,
that I can't quite figure out.
I agree with.
There are like a ton of references to Super Mario.
I don't think the connections, I don't think the references actually land because, like, okay, change the name of the Goombas, but like they're big dudes in suits with little tiny heads. That's not a thing that exists in Mario. The mushrooms are like a weird contagion that's like spread across the city. That's not a thing in Mario. Like, yes, there are things. I see the inspirations. I can trace them. Even if you took out the names, I can kind of see the inspiration.
Yeah.
But if it didn't have a name, you would not watch this and like think, oh, these are a bunch of Mario references because everything behaves and looks and sounds and feels different.
One thing that I learned from the Patrick H. Willems video.
Oh, gee. Okay.
Which apparently I wasn't planning on referencing.
Don't listen to us. Just go listen to him instead.
I wasn't planning on no, because he does like an actual educational thing, and I learned some stuff there. You're not going to learn anything here. But one thing that he revealed in that video was that the directors Annabelle Jankel and Rocky Morton, they had filmed a scene at the end of the movie where Mario and Luigi sell their story to Nintendo. Like Nintendo executives come and they want to buy the story.
Wait, did you watch the post-credit scene?
Post-credit scene?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That happens, but it's with Iggy and Spike.
Okay. Because apparently in an earlier edit, that was with Nintendo executives.
Yeah, no, there are
And
two dudes.
so-
They're like, hey, we're here to make a video game based on your story, but then you expect
Yeah.
it to be Mario, but it pans over and it's Iggy and Spike.
Oh. Okay. Because in the original, apparently in an earlier cut, it was the Super Mario Brothers game, and Mario and Luigi were upset because it didn't match what their actual experience was.
Oh,
That
that's
the
funny.
differences
Oh, that's a
are
funny joke.
intentional. That this is the real story of Mario and Luigi, and the games are made up.
That's a fine joke. We even I
So
don't.
I like
here's
that.
the thing. I don't even want this podcast to be us arguing about how close it is. We could probably cut out the last 15 minutes. I don't know if that's actually
Yeah.
interesting to our listeners.
You know what's better?
What else about this would be interesting?
How cool all these sets and costumes
okay, so here's
and
the
props
thing.
are.
The
And, like,
prop
just the
design,
sheer
set
number of
design,
extras in this thing?
It's amazing. The production
It
on
is.
this movie is actually fantastic.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's phenomenal. There was a
This is
lot
so
of
well
work and a
made.
lot of effort
Like,
and
they'll
a
have-
lot of people that went into making
They'll have
this
single
movie.
shots where you will see just like hundreds of people
Yeah.
in custom costumes and prosthetics. Like the bar scene, like the club scene where they all go dancing, and they're just like, it's like a couple hundred people in this room,
Yeah.
all doing like choreographed dances. They're all doing the exact same dance together, like a group dance, and like some of them are just randomly dinosaurs. And like everyone has a custom costume that's you can't just like go buy that clothing off the shelf somewhere. Like someone made that. It was,
it was,
everything was like
it's
really well put
incredible.
together, really intentional.
Because you have like this
Now,
big...
really well put together, really intentional, but also really 90s. Like, this is the very embodiment
It's
of
so
the
good.
90s.
It's so good because you have like a dude in like this big
It's
oversized
perfect.
suit and with like the little tiny reptile head. That's not what a Goomba's supposed to look like. But I'm looking and I'm like, that prop, like that puppetry there is like fantastic.
It's awesome.
Like it's so well made. The Yoshi is like a very impressive little like dinosaur they had on sets.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we should actually go just really quickly. There are bombs. They're little itty bitty teeny tiny little
Like
like wind up
grenades.
walking toys. Yeah, little grenades. Exactly what they like would look like in the game. There are Goombas. They are de-evolved
Lizard
Dinosaurs?
Lizard people.
de-evolved lizard people who evolved from lizard people, and then they de-evolved them back to be like mindless slaves, kind of, to do their bidding. They're
Except
just
for
like
Toad, played by Mojo Nixon.
Yeah, Toad's in this.
So,
he's like
they're
a
all-
hippie hipster dude like busking on the street that gets arrested for criticizing the government.
Yeah.
He has a weird spiral
So-
haircut.
when they're turned into Goombas, they're like they end up being taller and wider than a normal human being, with little itty bitty heads that are either like lizard shaped or like meatball shaped.
Also,
I don't know.
this
Yeah.
It's
Also, this is really
really
important.
odd.
They love to dance.
They
do
are they're dude, they're crazy for dancing. They dance every chance they get. Well,
Yoshi, literally just a Yoshi. It's like a pet that they have.
actually,
Yeah, little
counterpoint
dinosaur.
here, and everybody
Yeah?
loves to dance. I learned that from Luigi Mario.
Everybody loves to dance.
This is a deep cut from our childhood, at least. But do you remember the SpongeBob episode?
Of course I do.
Right? Where they're trapped in a cave because of a king jellyfish, and he goes out and blows a bubble in the shape of a pie, and the jellyfish takes it and like says yummy and leaves.
Yeah.
And they ask him like, "How did you know?" Has nothing to do with anything. Like it doesn't. Nothing about it makes any sense. And the guy comes out and says, "How did you know?" And SpongeBob says, "Because everybody loves pie." This is exactly the same thing.
yes.
Exactly the
Same
same
energy.
thing. Everybody loves dancing. How did you know that would work? That would get us out of that jam? Because everybody loves to dance.
Yeah,
It's perfect.
Luigi Mario
The
convinces all the
embodiment of the
Goombas to
90s.
dance and as a distraction so they can get out of a tough spot.
Yeah, King Koopa and all of the rest of the other, like, I guess, Super Mario critters are just people. They're just people, but they evolve from reptiles instead of...
Also,
Dennis
like the
had, a
cast
weird
here,
haircut.
like the reason we're doing this movie as the first Chronicles of Nanarnia is because of the cast. But there were like cast members here I was not expecting. Like Fiona Shaw, who our listeners may know better as Aunt Petunia from the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
King Koopa's wife, which I was not expecting.
Yeah.
I mean, Fisher Stevens from like 4 Wes Anderson films and Succession.
See, the funny thing
Iggy.
is I know him from Always Sunny.
Oh, of
He
course.
was a food critic.
I already mentioned Mojo Nixon, which I was not expecting that.
No.
But here we are.
That was weird,
So
but it
actually-
worked.
So speaking of, who are all the? I know there's at least 4 that I can think of that were in Skull movies. We're talking this up like this is the nexus. Like all these people are in Skull movies. There has to be more than 4. I can only think of 4.
It's
Because it came up so many
it
times.
came up many times. John Leguizamo,
Yeah,
Dennis
yeah, because he was
Hopper.
in 2 Skull movies.
Yeah.
Dennis Hopper. He
Yeah.
was in Ticker. Gianni Russo was in. I
yes.
forget which one. Out for Justice.
Oh, that's right.
And he played.
Who was he in Out for
this
Justice?
one, he's
looking it up.
He's Capelli. He's the guy that gets
Sammy.
turned into a chimp at the end. He's Sammy in Out for Justice. And Francesca
That's
P.
right.
Roberts.
He's one of the mob guys.
And so Francesca P. Roberts is in this movie Big Bertha. Oh my god, I completely forgot about Big Bertha. A large African American woman who seems to own the club and takes this meteorite
Wait,
piece at some point.
She was Martha Coe.
She was Martha Coe. She
Yeah.
almost
Oh,
she is black by popular demand.
Yes.
First of all, she was fantastic, just as fantastic in the Super Mario Bros. Movie as she was as Martha Coe in Hard to Kill.
It was great.
She
had the jump boots.
Who else am I missing? There has. Oh wait, what?
She had the jump boots.
Yes, she gave them their jumping boots. Which are not a thing in the movie, which are not a thing in any of the games. Well,
Whatever.
so who else am I missing? Someone else has to be. Oh wait, I want to say Lance Henriksen, who played like the king that's just revealed at the end. I want to say he popped up in. Was he in the gambling Seagal movie?
Pistol Whip
Pistol Whipped.
as the old man. Yep.
Okay.
Wow.
He's also been in like so many other better things, but
Oh, of course. We should have come into this a little bit more prepared on these.
yeah, we didn't do any research. We didn't. Yeah.
Well, technically, we did the research. It was just like a year ago.
Yeah, I was watching. That was research. Okay.
What else would you call that project?
Self-flagellation.
A waste of time.
Waste of time.
Yeah, probably.
It's all those things.
So those are all the ones that we
There has to have been at
has to
least
have been
one
more, but it just came up so often. There's at least 5 of these people that would go on to be in later Skull movies. John Leguizamo, who would be in 2 of them.
Yeah.
And who would then later in the menu play a character that he said he based off of. He was inspired by Steven Seagal.
Wow.
So he's our deepest pull here. So big one, no Bob Hoskins. He managed to escape the Seagal web. Samantha Mathis, as far as I know, was never in a Seagal movie. He wasn't in a Seagal movie, but the original drummer for Sonic Youth was Spike. That was fun. But yeah,
What did you like about the movie? My big thing are like all the props and costumes and sets.
There was
think
a
we're-
lot,
and there were
of
tons
work
of 'em.
that went into this movie.
Yep.
And they
like
were
so much work.
Packed and cramped. Like everything was cramped, but in a way that didn't feel like cheap. Like there's a way of like using cramped sets that's cheap, just trying to pack a bunch of people in there,
Yeah.
make things look busy. But like in any given shot, there are like 100 moving objects easily.
So
And
I
like
think part of
timing
that
that
is
needs to work perfectly, and yeah, it's
they
wild.
like every single exterior shot happens on the same set. Like it's all that same like main street with a tunnel on either side.
Yeah.
So it's like it looks kind of closed off, but it's a huge set where all of that happens.
Gigantic.
And every time they're there, that's like it's taking place in a different part of that set, and it's like exactly like you said. Like people just have everything works together so well. It was incredibly high production value. This movie, weirdly, I was
Yeah.
not. I I didn't really know what to expect. The only thing I knew about this movie was that everybody hated it, and I don't understand why.
I don't get. I mean, like, I don't think I really understand the dislike of this.
Well,
movie.
let me offer my perspective on this.
Yeah, go for it.
Not to like rehash the argument that we were having before, but
Yes, of course.
No, but you have to be the contrarian.
no, not to be the contrarian. But
that's your persona.
But here's the thing: if this was unlabeled Dinosaur Dimension movie and it came out, I think people would be like, "Oh, that was some kind of like fun, like early '90s cheese," and I don't think it would be like on the list of the worst films ever made. If this was just like Dinosaur Dimension and they went on their fun adventure, you'd be like, oh, this is like 100 other movies that came out. Because I do think, for me, something that's very interesting about this movie is that the amount I thought it was good went down in an almost like perfect like linear graph. Like, well, kind of it, like goes up and then so because like we're watching, I'm kind of like, you know, for the first like 10 minutes, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna like form an opinion, just like wait, let's see where this movie goes. They get transported to Koopa World, whatever, the Mushroom Kingdom, whatever they're calling it. They get transported there, and I'm just like, I'm feeling exactly what you're saying. I'm like, hold up. Why were people ever saying this was bad? This is fun. This is colorful. This is like Back to the Future 2 meets Demolition Man meets Michael Jackson's Moonwalker movie.
Yeah.
Meets like Austin Powers because Dennis Hopper shows up and he kind of has like a Dr. Evil thing going on. Like,
Yeah. Oh,
you fool, take them. And I was like, wow, the set design is really good. The prop work's really good. The like weird kind of electric rail police cars with like plows on the front
the
are
cars
so cool.
in this movie.
I was just like, this is
wild.
like a fun, fleshed out, like campy sci-fi world. And I'm not, you know, it's not like high art, but I'm just like, I don't get why people are crapping on this. And then I feel like as we were watching, it just like, for me, I don't know if it just like loses the momentum or whatever, but like the amount of just, oh, that's really cool and fun and inspired and like visually interesting, like decreases as the why increases. Like the percentage of like, wait, what the like per minute goes up as time goes on, and you don't have anything like improving to balance it out. So I like the, not even the first 20 minutes, like 10 minutes in to like 45 minutes in, I loved, and then it just kind of like it just fades for me. Because then I'm like, why?
I think maybe you were trying to analyze it too
I was
much.
not trying to analyze it. I'm just sitting there like, why? I don't get it.
Okay, but when you're sitting there trying to think like why I don't get it, I think you were analyzing it too much.
But
this, you got to roll with it. You got to roll with the punches.
Hans, you know I can roll with the movie. It just wasn't rolling. It was rolling. I still had like ultimately a good time. I still had a lot of laughs every time they like clap their hands together and go glug 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 glug. I thought that was fun. Like it was still, whenever they're in the elevator and they stealth like Metal Gear Solid 1 their way around the guards and then make them dance, like that was fun. Whenever like the Iggy and Spike, when they're dumb, they start off as like the dumb kind of comic relief goons, and he like evolves them to make them smarter, and they immediately just go back to being dumb but with a slightly improved vocabulary. That was fun. Like I thought they were like neat. Like I still had a good time, but like it's just the wow of, oh, this was better than I was expecting. Not even like it turns into I hated it, but like by the end of the movie, I'm like, oh, okay, that was actually kind of what I was expecting. It like becomes what I was expecting by the end. But it's still overall, if you were to average it out, better than I was expecting.
Can I? Okay, so can I do the same thing about like my viewing experience?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first 5 to 10 minutes, I honestly thought, I don't know about this one. I don't know if this is going to be any good.
Well, because it opens on a narrator talking about how when
the first
dinosaurs
30
went
seconds
extinct,
are amazing.
it created a parallel.
Picture like Dan Rather doing the Twilight Zone and explaining, but what if the dinosaurs didn't die and they went into a parallel dimension? I literally, like, I was watching this with my wife. I literally look over her and I'm just like, what if indeed?
Well, so I thought the first 30 seconds of this movie were amazing, and then the next like 5 to 10 minutes kind of sucked, and like it kind of sucks until they go to Koopa Land.
Yeah, there's a lot of
then,
just like, okay, get on with it. Like,
well, no, my problem with like the 10 minutes or so before they get to Koopa Land I don't know what they actually call that parallel dimension.
Asteroid
But
City.
my problem is that I thought that things were moving at like a breakneck pace. So stuff doesn't stop happening. Maybe the plot doesn't move along very well, but like stuff doesn't stop happening. Someone is constantly saying, "What are we going to do next? We have to go to this place. We got to run. Get in the van. We have to drive. Oh no, this Capelli's got here before us. Okay, we have to go. Oh no, our car broke down. Okay, get out of the car.
Okay.
Oh no, there's Daisy. Like I need to hit on her. Hey Daisy, come over." And we'll get dinner. Oh no! Like the Scapellis are blowing up the water pipes in the cave. Oh no! We have to get out. We have to fix it. Oh no! We got knocked out and taken to Koopa. Like it doesn't. It's relentless for the first 10 minutes. It's just thing after thing after thing, and you have no idea what's going on. But then you get to Koopa Land, and it doesn't slow down. It just like it gets a little bit more wild, and like because it's a little bit more wild, I'm like, okay, I'm just here for the ride.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm good.
So,
when I was
because
just
you
in
go-
Brooklyn, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough crazy for me to like get on the roller coaster. But once we got to Koopa Land, the Brooklyn that split 65 million years ago, alternate universe dinosaur Brooklyn, then okay, I'm good. I can do this. But those first 10 minutes, I'm like, too much, too fast.
Because, well, so in the beginning, those first 10 minutes, it's real world problems. Oh no, the car broke down. We got to get a bottle of water to top off.
Like
the
every
radiator.
30 seconds, there's a new problem.
Yeah, there's a new problem. It's, oh no, the Scapellis got to the site before us, so they took the plumbing job that we didn't get, and we don't get any money. And like, oh no, we can't pay our rent. It's like real problems. And then they go into Koopa Land, and it's, oh no, we're getting arrested. Oh no, we're about to get shot, but actually they're just weird sci-fi cameras. Oh no, we're put in a jail cell. Oh no, we're about to get de-evolved. Oh no, immediately after that, we're escaping from the police. Oh no, we're driving through a tunnel that's not finished that ramps out into a desert. Oh no, suddenly the Iggy and the other guy are chasing us, and then oh no, they fall into a swamp. Like it's you're absolutely right, because it is like it's constant. It doesn't let up. There's always something happening, but it goes from like normal problems to crazy so quick.
Yeah. It's, oh no, we need to get this crystal. Oh no, it was stolen from us by this big lady. Oh no, she has like jetpack boots.
That's okay, but that when they have the crystal, they first arrive at Koopa Land, right?
Yeah.
And like everybody's giving them crap, like saying, "Oh, you're not from around here," or whatever, blah blah blah. And this old woman walks up to them and goes, "You boys really shouldn't be here. It's not safe for people like you if you're not from around here." And she looks at them and says, "Are you boys armed? Do you have weapons on you?" And they both like, "No, we don't." And she says, "All right." And she pulls out a rifle from under her jacket. This like sweet old woman, and mugs them.
It's great.
I also,
Like,
in that same
it's
scene,
amazing.
I love with my entire heart whenever they go, "Where are we?" And the lady goes, "You're in my way, egg suckers." I love that so much.
Oh, it's perfect. It's so perfect.
It's funny because like we were watching these Skull movies, and you're just like, sometimes we're struggling. Like, I don't know, we did this whole "what's your favorite line" gimmick, and you're kind of struggling. I don't have a favorite line. Every scene had my favorite line. I had like a new favorite line to love.
There was always a quip.
There was always something fantastic. But to go back to answer the question,
I did write down a couple.
But to like try to answer the question, that we got a little sideline there, a little tangent. Sorry for whoever's editing this. So
it's gonna be a nightmare.
So we all kind of had those different experiences. But here's the thing, because I think maybe my reaction is what is like a mix of like the original reaction plus this new, like the transformed reaction that we've seen evolve over time. You just skipped ahead. You're just doing the evolved reaction we've seen over time.
Yeah.
Because I think what I want you to picture is you're a parent in 1993 and your kid really likes the Nintendo and they play that Nintendo all the time, and they made a movie based on the Nintendo, and you take them there. Are you gonna, on the car ride home, tell your kid, no, that was like the Mario game you like, right? When they go, "Mom, what the was that?"
Let me ask you this. Did you watch this movie with Sarah?
Yeah. Of course.
What did she have like thoughts during it? Did you like talk during this movie like you talked during
this movie? We really reacted at the part when they go back to Manhattan and the Twin Towers get destroyed.
Oh yeah.
We had thoughts about
That
that.
does happen a little bit. So now we have
Okay, I'm sorry.
Since you brought
There's
it up,
a
we have to
tangent within
clarify.
our tangent within our tangent now.
I know, but we have to clarify because it's not in the same way. In the Koopaverse there are also twin towers. and
Bowser's
they
castle
are
is the World Trade Center.
right. Yes, they are unfinished. They're being built in that universe. So when the universes like almost merge, the Koopaverse twin towers replace the New York twin towers. And it does look a little bit like they got destroyed, which leaves a bit of a bad taste in your mouth.
That was weird.
After 1993, obviously.
But yeah, we were watching.
But-
We were kind of sharing thoughts. We were chatting while we were watching. Yeah.
Right. I think that you would have been maybe not 100% on our wavelength, but maybe a little more on our wavelength if you didn't watch this with Sarah.
No. Okay. Here's the thing.
I feel like she would be the one to point out these things to you and say that's ridiculous, and you're gonna think, yeah, that's a little bit ridiculous.
No.
No.
Well, because
You
the
don't
whole
think so?
time, because it was more so the whole time she wasn't pointing out that's ridiculous. It's more so that we would just be watching, and I was like we would be watching, like I was kind of doing that same thing, like because she was kind of like just like half and not fully as invested like as I am, but I'd like something would appear and I would be like, where did Lena come from? There's no Lena in these. Like, what is Lena? Like, I want to be very clear.
okay.
I simultaneously,
Lena's King Koopa's wife, obviously.
Wait
obviously,
a second.
and
I have a question.
and obviously Mario's girlfriend is what's her name?
Oh, I had it up.
I had it somewhere. Wait.
It's not Peach.
Daniela.
Daniela.
Yeah, obviously, Daniela, Mario's girlfriend. No. So here's the thing. I want to be very clear. I am within, like, the simultaneous, like, the transdimensional superposition of having your opinion and also having I don't even, like, disagree with you, but it's like I'm simultaneously, like, this is almost just a kind of, like, fun, fantastical, like, vaguely inspired by Mario, and you can see the influences, you can see the references. But I'm just saying, like, picture you go in 1993, audiences go to watch the Super Mario Brothers movie. And then they watch a movie where, first of all, Luigi's the main character. Princess Peach is not involved. Bowser is called King Koopa, and he's Dennis Hopper, who's just a human. And, like, the Goombas are weird, bulky, like, guys with tiny lizard faces. Like, I'm being serious here. I think if you watch this movie, if it was not called the Super Mario Brothers movie, if they didn't call them Goombas, if they didn't call the little dinosaur Yoshi, everything else exactly the same, like, you're not going to watch it and be like, oh, that's obviously a Mario movie. And I'm not even saying it's bad what they did. I think, like,
Yeah.
Mario is, like, at this point in time, like, even at this point now, it's a very story light. I'm not saying I want a direct adaptation for Mario. I'm not saying I want it to be actually lore accurate. Like, I want them to have a little fun with it, but it is to the point. It's almost not identifiably Mario in most ways.
So here's my thing. I don't care.
And that's fine, but that's what I'm saying.
that's
Is
where
I think when
I have an important question for us all. What is our experience with Mario and the Mario brother before watching this movie? Because for me personally, I grew up playing Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo. And that was the only Mario game I ever played, ever, until I played Super Mario. What's the one with the hat?
Super Mario Odyssey.
Super Mario Odyssey on the Switch. I only played that for a few hours. Like, my experience of Super Mario as a concept is incredibly limited. So I don't have a whole bunch of nostalgia for Super Mario. I don't have, like, any nostalgia for that, other than the time that I spent with my brother and my dad. When a level was too hard, my dad would come in and, like, play the level for me.
Respect.
But that on the Super Nintendo, that was
Respect.
Super Mario World. That was it. I have
For
no
me, it
nostalgia
was-
for the franchise.
For me, it was Super Mario 64.
I never owned the 64, so yeah, I didn't do that.
Yeah, that was all we had for a long time, and then it was what was it called? I think it was the new Super Mario Brothers for the Wii. When that came out, when they were when in the 2010s with nostalgia pandering was big. But that was pretty much it, aside from Mario Kart, but that doesn't really
That doesn't count.
That
They
doesn't
do a lot
really
of driving in this.
They do a lot of
They
driving.
do
and I do want to talk about the cars in a minute.
awesome
but
cars.
It's like sick ass Mad Max like cars.
They're super cool. But like, what is everyone's experience with the Super Mario Brothers franchise?
So this is a loaded.
Like
question.
I said, mine is super limited.
I don't like this question. This is a loaded question because my answer is going to make me sound like the actually I want the lore to be accurate answer. But I've probably not beaten, but I probably have touched. Like I have played every mainline Super Mario Brothers game except for Wonder. Like I would say I have a higher than average familiarity with the series. Like I don't know if it was the first game I ever played. It was like one of the first games I remember playing is the first one on like my mom's NES that she had from like high school or college.
Yeah.
Like that was pretty formative for me. There's definitely a nostalgia to that.
Yeah.
But like I'm not like Super Mario Brothers encyclopedia recognizing every character. Like I'm watching the movie, I'm like getting references and such.
Yeah. So like my thing is when it makes a quote unquote like change to the lore or whatever in this movie, I have zero reaction to that. I do not care. I don't even really often I probably don't even recognize when it's happening.
Well,
so I don't care.
So I'm going to give a disclaimer on this. Also, that's what I'm saying. I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
Like Halo came out and people have been complaining about the changes it makes and some of the changes are weird. I think for me, when I'm watching this and they make some kind of change to the lore or like, completely change like, a character or how this thing works, I'm fine with that as this kind of different extension of like, this loosely based on the names from this property. But that's why I'm kind of like of two minds. Like it's inspired by, it's not really a Mario movie though. It is like inspired by characters and names and like settings from Mario. It's not really a Mario movie. And like I can understand, this is what I'm saying, like you kind of just have the 2020 like mindset of it, but I have that because I can appreciate it for what it is. And I do think that if this was just like, I don't think this would ever be considered worst movie of all time if it was just like, Dinosaur Dimension, if it didn't have Mario on it, if you didn't have people going in expecting a Mario movie. I think the story was, kind of like it exists. It's fine. Story was like, typical, like
it was
sci-fi
fine.
fantasy fare for like,
it felt like a 90s fantasy
like a kid-friendly fantasy adventure. The set design was great. There was some like fun quotes. I think this is on the list for worst films of all time because an audience in 1993 going to see the Super Mario Brothers movie is going, hey, what the fuck is this? What? That's not a Goomba. What the hell is this? Also, all Mario fans are, of course, from the Bronx.
Of course.
That as an adaptation of Super Mario Brothers, I can see the world was not ready for it at its time.
No.
There's a reason that this came out, and then Nintendo did not let another video game adaptation of their works come out for 30 years. And then when a new one did come out, it was basically the first 15 minutes of this movie, and then they went, okay, no, none of the rest.
Yeah, no.
I think this is fun, great, cheesy 90s schlock fantasy adventure, but it's if you and even just like as like a fun kind of extension of taking concepts from Mario and putting it in a completely different setting. Yes, I absolutely see that. As a Mario adaptation, I can't even say it's bad because it's just not that. It's not a Super Mario Brothers movie. It's not an adaptation of Super Mario Brothers.
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
I can agree with you on that.
Yeah. Oh,
that's
yeah.
fair. I can agree with you on that. The one thing that the more we talk about this, the more it rings in my head that this is just like the Goonies but Mario themed.
Yeah.
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 That's really what it is.
Yeah.
But it's very good. I will say the more we compare it to the more recent Super Mario Brothers movie, the animated one, at the very least in this one, Mario didn't kill every living citizen in Brooklyn like he does in the new one.
That doesn't actually happen. That's not
no,
stated.
It kind of does though. It does.
Now talking about who's analyzing the movie too much.
Aaron, have you seen the new Super Mario Brothers movie? The
I
animated
haven't.
one? Mario kills everyone in Brooklyn.
No, this is like a Cinema Sins, like, ding, this would kill everyone in the city type thing Hans is doing. They don't canonically state in the movie that he kills everyone in Brooklyn.
But he does. He lands Bowser's castle out of the sky and crushes the entirety of Brooklyn right up to his street.
That's not good.
That would kill everyone in the entire area.
No, but
they're all dead.
This is applying a jaded adult's mind.
I feel like a child would understand that. They would see that and think, huh, That's kind of not
No,
right.
it is
Hey,
a
you know
very
what's even
funny
better?
choice that they make, but I just want to be very clear for anybody who hasn't seen the movie. That is not officially the story of the movie that Mario comes back and kills all of Brooklyn.
But you know what's even better? At the end of this movie, they use a de-evolution gun to turn Anthony Scapelli into a monkey.
Ah, Scapelli!
They do that. They do that.
And he does make some very funny chimp faces. Like, that was pretty great.
That was a very well-trained chimp. That was great.
Yeah. So I touched on
can
this
I-
before, but quick question.
What?
When
Yeah.
you're watching a Super Mario Brothers movie, who do you think the main character is?
It's Luigi.
Oh, it's Luigi.
Yeah, Luigi, obviously. It's the year
Yeah,
of Luigi.
and
Like, Luigi's
honestly,
the main character.
And I'm
That's the
okay
way
with
to go.
that.
I think it's better off for it.
Yeah.
It's just funny that, like, it took me, like, halfway through the movie to realize. I'm like, wait a minute. Mario is a supporting character in this.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
mostly a Luigi thing.
Yeah, he's the heart and soul. So it's funny because I was,
Although-
when you're talking about,
Bob-
like, what's our experience with Mario series, I was literally playing Luigi's Mansion 3, like, yesterday before watching this movie. So the whole time I'm watching, I'm just like, it's pretty crazy that, like, John Leguizamo's gonna have to fight all these ghosts in this mansion later on. Like,
I have to say though, of all like everybody in this, the whole cast was phenomenal. They were
Yeah.
all incredibly goofy and perfect for their respective roles. Bob Hoskins knocked it out of the park as
Amazing.
Mario.
It was great.
Like,
100%.
perfect, absolutely perfect.
Great. He is also 18 years older than his younger brother, John Leguizamo Luigi.
They talk about that, like they sort of establish why.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
He's like
no,
kind of
I'm
so
adopted,
goofy.
right? Like I never
Yeah.
quite
No,
so
figured out their
they're-
relationship.
Their dad passed away like right after Luigi was born, so Mario raised him. So like he's like a father figure, but he's his brother.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And also Luigi is the one who gets them out of every difficult situation in the entire movie.
Yeah. He's like, I'm the apprentice. I'm just learning. Like, Mario does come in clutch. He, like, whenever it directly relates to plumbing, Mario gets them out of
Yeah.
trouble. He takes the
Yeah.
lead.
There's a
But
surprising
pretty much
amount of
everything else,
plumbing
Luigi's
in
like,
the movie.
hey, you just gotta grab the mushroom and believe. Trust the fungus. And Mario is like, no. And then he does it. It works.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
Trust
jump
the
at the
fungus.
solid rock wall. It'll be fine. And then he does, and it's fine.
Yeah. Like, Luigi's right about
great.
everything that happens.
Yeah.
he also Bob Hoskins also has some of the best line deliveries though too.
See,
If we want to go, do we? I know we said there were like too many favorite lines to pick from, but this is sort of our format. Like, do you have one in mind? Because
I have
do.
one.
Let's hear it.
So Dennis Hopper, he spends like 30 seconds pretending he's not King Koopa when he's speaking to Mario and Luigi for the first
He
time.
pretends to be a lawyer
Yeah, he pretends to
when they're in
be
jail.
Mario and Luigi's lawyer when they get to jail, when they get arrested, like immediately when they show up in the Mushroom Kingdom. And so he's like trying to get information out of them about, the crystal that King Koopa is looking for. Except Mario and Luigi have no idea what he's talking about. They don't know what this crystal is. They don't know who King Koopa is. They do not know where they are. And so they're asking, who is King Koopa? And so Dennis Hopper, who is King Koopa, says to Mario and Luigi, and I quote, "That King Koopa clown is one evil egg-sucking son of a snake." It's great. That Koopa clown is one evil egg-sucking son of a snake.
Well, and when they like 2 seconds later, when he reveals that that's who he is,
Yeah.
and they like look at him in shock, like, "Why did you just say that about yourself?" And he goes, "Well, was I wrong?" Perfect.
Very closely followed by my second favorite line, which is the first thing you see in the movie. Brooklyn, 65 million years ago. That's great.
And then what is it? Brooklyn, 20 years ago.
It's great.
Love it. Zach, what about you?
I mean, my line, if I was going to say one line, it would be trust the fungus, which they say like more than once, so it almost becomes like a catchphrase, trust the fungus. But also, it would just be, like you said, Bob Hoskins has some of the best deliveries. I do agree with that, but I would probably say for me, it's Dennis Hopper. Like, we even talked, I know when we talked about this before, when we referenced it, that Dennis Hopper has, like, infamously said, like, how much he hated this movie, how the production was terrible, how, like, he said, I did it so I could get my son a new pair of shoes, and his son said, Dad, I don't need new shoes that bad. Like, he seemed to have a bad time and has only had bad things to say. But honestly, like, his performance, it is exactly what this movie calls for.
Yeah.
It is like cheesy in the best possible ways. So just every time he is on screen just chewing that scenery, when he's like in a mud bath and he goes, do you know what I love about mud? It's clean and it's dirty at the same time. And then just makes the weirdest face you've ever seen.
I have a note about that.
Like the face is just like
I have a note as I was taking notes as I was going along. I said Baron Koopa Harkonnen and his slime
yes. Yes, exactly. No, so just every single thing that Dennis Hopper says in this movie, it's fantastic.
That's perfect.
When he was not on screen, I was just asking, "Where's Dennis Hopper?" And he'd come back on screen, and I was like, "Yes."
Can I just like mention some things that I loved about this movie?
Wait, what's Hans's quote?
Oh, what's Hans's favorite line? And then,
so Mario's Bob Hoskins' wife, Daniela. We said wife earlier. Are we sure not girlfriend?
She's girlfriend. No, she's girlfriend.
Girlfriend. Okay, maybe I misheard then. She at the beginning of the movie, the goons are trying to kidnap the princess. So like they open up the portal, whatever, and so there's a string of missing women from Brooklyn and like all over the news, and nobody can figure out why. And it turns out that they find all of these missing women in Koopa Land because they were being abducted because they were trying to find the princess, right? So Daniela gets kidnapped and taken there, and Mario doesn't know that yet. So he meets up with Luigi, like they split up at one point, and Luigi finds out like that she was kidnapped, and he says, "But wait, they're about to split up and go their separate ways again to go like fix something." And he says, "But wait, what about Daniela?" And Bob Hoskins stops, like deadpan, like looks off to the side and says, "Daniela, oh, I promised to take her to WrestleMania." like he can't do it now because they're in Koopa Land. Like, and the way he says it too is so perfect because the scene, like we've been saying, it goes from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing so fast, and he takes this like weird pause that doesn't really happen in a lot of the dialogue. He says, "Daniela, oh. I promised to take her to WrestleMania."
It's very funny.
He does also...
And then Luigi pulls him in and says, no, she's here. She's been kidnapped. You have to go save her. And he does. But it's just like the way he delivered that line was so perfect. I promised to take her to WrestleMania.
I mean, again, so 90s. This movie is they packed as much 90s into here as they could. They packed it first.
It's perfect.
I do also like when he says, "Hey, the name's Mario. I'm your main man. You're Ramadam. You're can of spam." That's a great Mario line.
It's perfect. I also liked my second favorite. I didn't like actually track the full line, but like halfway through the movie, King Koopa, like he's ordering around his goons and telling them what to do to go find the plumbers, and then he stops, turns around, picks up a video phone. And orders a pizza. Like, he calls a local pizzeria and says, "Hey, King Koopa here. I need the usual." And they, like, say, "Yeah, you want this, this, and this?" And he's like, "Yep, no, easy on that, light on the tails," or whatever it is.
Make it spicy.
And make it spicy. And then, like, 20 minutes later, he is confronting Mario. He's captured Mario and Luigi, or his goons have. And someone walks up to him and says, "King Koopa phone for you, sir." And he answers the phone, and they say something about, "Your pizza's ready for pickup." And he says, "Not now," and hangs up the phone.
Wait, but you forgot in between those, there's a moment, like, when they're first starting, like, the attack, when he's like, "Get me that Mario," or whatever. And he's like, do this. Give me my Mario. Get Goombas, get ready. And where's my pizza?
That's right.
And then it's like 5 minutes later that happens.
It's just amazing. I don't know. It's just such a dumb detail.
I love it.
It's so good.
Can I point out?
I was having fun.
I just have like a list of silly details that I thought were amazing.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Detail number 1. All of the computers work on a point and shoot system, like an arcade cabinet. Like, in order to operate a computer, you take out, like, a gun that's tethered to the computer, and you fire the gun at the thing you're selecting on the screen, like it's an old arcade cabinet.
And you'll, like, simultaneously use this while video calling someone. Like, it's every single technology.
Yeah, so the whole scene where King Koopa is ordering his pizza, he has, like, this gun right in front of his face, pointed at the pizza guy. And it's amazing. The cars, we have mentioned several times, we haven't really talked about it. There's like this big car chase, after Mario and Luigi steal a police cruiser, but everything works on like this electric rail car system. So there's just like this electric net throughout the whole city that you have like this big antenna on the top of your car that just scrapes against the net. So there are constantly sparks flying everywhere.
Everywhere, from everything, every piece of machinery.
Just always sparks, but there's like universally accessible electricity throughout the whole city.
Yeah.
You just have to like stick a stick up in the air and you have electricity. So all their cars are electric. And it's like there are these big car crashes, and like the amount of time and attention that went into making these customized vehicles and then crashing them is wild. There's like this prolonged sequence where Mario and Luigi's car gets stuck on top of another car, and they have no
and they
control.
say, well, I hope this guy knows where he's going.
Yeah,
Just the world building fact that their cars don't have brakes in them. So in the movie, they show that when they're going to the police station, like they have a steel tether come up and grab it like a jet,
like it's a fighter
landing
jet
on an aircraft carrier. Like that's just how they stop these cars that have plows on the front, because they're just expected to crash into everything. No, the world building is fantastic.
Well, and they even show that too. Like there are cars, like there'll be cars. There was a cop directing traffic out on the street, and there was a car stopped, and another car just comes up and plows right into the back of it, and the cop's not even phased. He just keeps waving
keeps
traffic
going.
on. Like that's just how they stop, because they all have giant like metal blockers on the front and like
even
plows on the front and blockers on the back. So
brakes
they just ram
don't
into each
exist.
other.
And when you see Iggy and Spike in Manhattan, they do that. Like they're tailing the
Yeah, they
princess.
just
They'll just
crash
hit other cars when they're like pulling out. Like they just do it. They're just like, yeah, get out of my way.
That's so.
And I kind of
great.
thought that was just silly. And then you get to the
detail.
world where that's just how they drive, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
They're not just idiots. Like they have cars in the
Yeah.
Mushroom Kingdom.
The cars are just
that's
built.
just
They're
how
just
they work.
built like bumper cars.
Well, because they all have, so they're all electrified, like you said,
Yeah.
but they all have these. They spark at the top,
Yeah.
where the antenna and like the giant cables, where the antenna hits all the cables floating from the streets. But they also have these giant electric motors sticking up out of the hoods
Yeah.
of every car,
Like it's a muscle
and those
car.
are also throwing sparks everywhere all the time.
It's great. Everyone in the Mushroom Kingdom is incredibly rude to literally everyone else all the time,
Yes.
They're all,
and it's kind of great.
everybody's upset.
Apparently, I already mentioned like there are choreographed dances that everyone knows, and it's just kind of in the background. Like they don't make a big deal out of it that there are like 30 people in this club doing the exact same dance together, like a choreographed dance. It's like in the background as someone's having a conversation. They put so much effort into stuff that they intentionally put in the background that you don't really see. It's incredible. Mrs. Koopa, Lena, Petunia Dursley has like 30 costume changes throughout the whole movie.
She even has like, she gets shocked and gets like a whole Bride of Frankenstein hairdo like at one point. Like
Which there's one point where she's in like a leather suit. It's wild. I have in my notes Petunia Dursley in leather is a fascinating look.
yeah.
And I just want to point out once again that I really liked Koopa Harkonnen in his slime pool. It was very
Which, okay.
Dune.
So speaking of, I have a thought. I want to know if you agree with this or not.
Yeah,
So
sure.
right now I'm reading the book Masterpiece in Disarray, which is about like the production of Dune 1984, like David Lynch's
Yeah.
Dune, and kind of shedding light on, because that movie also you're watching and there's a lot of like, wait, what the hell moments, and you're like, why did
Yeah.
you make that choice? Why did that happen? And then you realize like all the behind the scenes stuff that went into it. I think it's pretty safe to assume that this is like the Dune 1984 Mario movies. Like we have not done the research and seen like all the behind scenes on like how this worked. I just have to assume like any decision that if you're watching this movie and you're not flow stating and you're like, now wait, why'd they do that? Now wait, why'd they do that? I assume it has to be some kind of weird, like, well, this producer and this person from like Nintendo and this person from the production company like
Yeah.
had a disagreement, and then like the director just like locked the actors on set and like made them reshoot the scene, and that's why it's
Yeah.
the way it is. Like that has to be every single day on this movie. That's the only explanation for how this movie ends up the way it does. Like, I feel like I want to be very clear. Like, any time that you're just like, wait, what the hell? I just assume that has to be like some kind of weird studio production, like random like squabbling. Like this movie, I had to have gone through like 30 rewrites of the scripts. This was not the first draft.
No, but it's when you. This is. Sorry, hold on. Let me start over. Gotta gather my thoughts for a second. We have yet to do. I don't know when this episode will release, so it's possible that we may have released this or not. But at the moment, we have not recorded our like final closing thoughts, having watched 49 Steven Seagal movies, every single one that he's ever released, and how that's sort of affected us long term. As Aaron has put it, the supersize me effect. I have like the way I ingest movies, the way I watch movies has forever been altered for the worse because of Steven Seagal and because of our project. You say that, and my brain immediately thinks, well, it's not that noticeable because you've also watched movies where the script has been like ripped to shreds and put back together in like as quick and dirty as possible, and it's complete trash. And in this one, it's like every time you see something that doesn't really make sense, they still manage to make it work. It's such a shame.
There's some sort of
if
the writing doesn't make sense in a scene, there's some other artistic thing going on that makes up for it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
okay, this scene doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but there's like some crazy prop that someone put together in this one, or like in the dance scene, like when they're in the club. I keep going back to that club. Owned by
there was so
Martha
much
Coe.
going on in
There's
there.
so much going on there. Like there are people in full body lizard prosthetics doing choreographed dances in the background that just are not mentioned. No one remarks on it at all. But like the
Full
dialogue
body
in
lizard
that whole
prosthetics.
set doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Things just kind of happen, but there's so much going on in every shot that must have taken just incredible amounts of effort that I'm too distracted by all the cool stuff going on that I don't really notice the writing. Like it doesn't really matter.
Well, it's kind of like a joke that people like to make that when it comes to like the Oscars, like the best editing category is just the same as the most editing category. Like, oh, this has the most editing, so it's therefore the best. Like, that's how Bohemian Rhapsody won. So maybe it's just like that this movie is just going as absolutely hard as possible in like every single second, like story-wise, like set design-wise, like every single line delivery is meant to go as hard as possible. So even when something doesn't work, there's like, the movie it just is the most. So then you're like, it overwhelms the senses.
It's a lot of movie.
It's a lot of. There's so much movie in this movie. And I do think though, like Hans, to your point, I think your viewing experience would be a good bit different if you had not watched 49 Steven Seagal movies before watching this. Like because you watch and you say that, you make a point. You're just like, wow, like there's more troubles on set, but they managed to make it work. Like it's because in Seagal, it's like there's troubles on set and it just did not work.
No.
You can tell.
This one, I think if the barometer was not so changed, a lot of it would be more apparent. Because I do feel like there's a very good chance. I almost feel like this was like a Mario movie via like the game of Exquisite Corpse. Like they had one person like write a scene, and then the next person like got to see that last scene, and they wrote their own scene, and then the next person got to see just that last scene, but they're not the one before it, and they wrote their own. And it just kind of like mutates over time. So it starts off like, oh, Daisy's getting kidnapped and they need to go after her, and then like they're driving the police car into the giant, like the cave of fungus that catches them, and they're wandering through the desert, and then you like get to the end and Dennis Hopper shoots this business guy with a Super Nintendo Super Scope and turns him into a chimpanzee, and you're just like, we have lost the plot so much, but you're just along for the ride.
Oh, by the way, Dennis Hopper's entire plan is to de-evolve all the humans back into monkeys
and merge his universe into theirs to take their resources.
Yeah. Because when the meteor crashed 65 million years ago, and the dimensions split, our dimension is much more lush and green.
They have one city, and the rest of the world is a desert. Somebody took the time to make the prop of this globe that sits in his office that has a giant like megapolis like city, and then 90% deserts.
And he grabs it by the buildings in the lone city and like chucks it, and it rolls through like 3 times.
It's great.
No, this movie is so the
There was
most that you don't
imagine how much time that would have taken
Right?
to make that globe. Someone, a PA or a graphic designer or someone had to spend their day like crafting that thing and making it look decent.
Well, so like, can you imagine being the props department on this? It's like, okay, you need a
amazing.
fully articulating lizard face. You need 12 of them.
You
What?
need to make the rocket jump boots.
You need to make like a whole shelf of rocket jump boots.
Yeah.
Now, I will say we mentioned earlier the rocket jump boots. They play a pretty big role in the movie, and they like don't exist in the Super Mario Bros.
Not at all.
universe.
Never, not once.
They do in such a way that like the movie makers took inspiration from the Super Mario Bros. Universe, because the jump boots take like ammo per jump, and the ammo is a bullet bill.
Yes. You put a bullet bill into the heel, and then you can jump.
Yeah.
Which is not a thing in
it's-
any of the
it-
games.
it-
I don't know what point you're
I know.
making. What the
I
thing you said
know.
is true, but the conclusion you reached is not.
I know. I'm just saying, like this goes back to what you were saying. Like I understand where you're coming from. Like I was definitely just sort of rolling with it, but I understand what you're saying in that it is not a Super Mario Bros. Movie. It is a sci-fi like fun journey that takes inspiration from the Super Mario Bros. Games, and that's that inspiration. Like it does, like it, it works, but it's not like from the games.
It is a fun you want to know my favorite
Fun interpretation.
You want to know my favorite like fun little like so whenever they go to the city, there's like 50 like neon signs, and all the different neon signs are like different, like this is like bullet, like this club is called Bullet Bills or something, like they're all just like different references to Mario things. 100% so far ahead of its time, just groundbreaking, fantastic, like amazing, like on screen for 1 second, but absolutely worth more than its weight in gold, is when you see the sign for a movie theater and it's Koopa Kino. I don't know if you noticed that one, but that one jumped out to me. Seeing Koopa Kino like gave me life. Like that was just so, because I'm like, that is so far. If that came out in 2023, like that would just like absolutely like bust so hard. Like people would be like losing it for that. Because I don't know if you follow online like film discussion, but like Kino has existed as a term for a while, but now it's just like kind of taken on a new life. Like, people like, you watch
I didn't know that.
The Planet of the Apes movie, and it's like, oh yes, Kino, yes, that je ne sais quoi, that, ooh,
I did not know
fantastic,
that.
Cinema, Kino. It's like, people
I'm not
use
on
it.
the social media.
So Kino is kind of like
The
used
social
semi-ironically as like a term for good cinema. It, like in the same way that you see that meme of like Martin Scorsese saying like, now this to me is cinema or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like somebody like, just kind of think of a silly, you watch like Spider-Man 3 and you're like, yes, the finest of Kino, like, magnifique, cinema. So whenever I see Koopa Kino, I'm just like, oh my gosh, that is this movie. Like, this movie is Koopa Kino, like, fantastique. Like, this was so far ahead of its time. And at Koopa Kino, of course, they are playing the movie I Was a Teenage Mammal, which is rated XXX. Which is a very funny joke in the movie that I'm sure moms were taking their 9-year-olds to.
It was the 90s. It was a different time.
Was the 90s.
Yeah, it was 90s. It was a different time.
So I didn't know this. Zach just sent it in the chat a couple minutes ago. There's a from late last year, 30th anniversary
Bastards did it.
UHD 4K Blu-ray release. Now I had to look this up because as soon as I saw that, I was like, well, obviously I have to have that. Like there's no reason not to have that in the collection of 4K Blu-rays. This thing, it was $100 for the full set,
Oh my
like
gosh.
the whole like collector's edition, and I'm assuming had like crazy limited amounts of these. That's a lot of money, but this looks incredibly cool. They are selling on eBay for $800.
No,
boy,
yikes.
woof.
That's crazy. And then I looked up, you can also just get just the Blu-ray, not the collector's set, not the box set, just the 30th anniversary single 4K Blu-ray. $60. That's like you go to find, you go buy, I don't know, the Oceans set. You get a box set of all 3 main Oceans movies, maybe even the 4 now, for $60 all in one. This is crazy how much money this movie is.
It's that's expensive.
For a movie that like is universally disliked.
I like it.
Well,
universally outside of us. I still
risen
don't
to
understand
cult
why it's
status.
disliked.
It is a cheesy cult.
I guess
rocky
so.
Then put it on streaming.
Oh, they're not. This movie's never going to be on streaming. Like, this isn't going to.
No, that's a shame, but it's true.
Although we can maybe cut this from the recording, but Hans, I do have a fun. I have something else you might enjoy. I have a fun surprise for you.
What?
In June of 2021, editor and film restorationist Garrett Gilchrist and members of the Super Mario Brothers movie archive released I don't know what they mean by this, but a semi-official restoration of the extended cut of Super Mario Bros.
Oh.
So they took an earlier VHS work print of the film. They got, they tried to get as much quality out of it as they could. There's 20 extra minutes.
20 minutes?
With additional scenes including Koopa devolving a technician into slime for the crime of sneezing, Mario's rivalry with a mafia-affiliated Scapelli Plumbing Company, and an anti-Koopa rap by Spike and Iggy at the Boom Boom Bar, backed up with scantily clad lizard dancers.
Awesome. Love it. We need that.
So this is semi-official because it was theoretically intended to be like an extra on the Blu-ray release, but that's not happening, so they put it on Internet Archive.
Oh my god.
Can we get it?
We can. I have.
Oh, it's on. If it's on Internet Archive, you can just download it.
It's just on it. So you can. So if you're going to watch this movie,
download that version.
Watch the extended edition. It's on the Internet Archive, completely free to watch.
I need to watch the extended edition.
Apparently, if you live in Australia and you buy the Blu-ray, they actually it's included in some form on there as well, like in that official release.
Dang. I really want the 4K Blu-ray of this movie too, but I cannot believe it's this expensive.
If only we watched this back when that was coming out and you could buy it,
Yeah, why didn't we get to this back in last October?
Oh my god.
When we could have actually jumped on it and bought one of these things for $100. The collector's edition. Dang.
Hans, do you know? I have another fact for you that I think you'll appreciate.
Lay it on me.
So, in a 2007 interview, Bob Hoskins, when he was asked what was the worst choice of his acting career, he said it was the Super Mario Brothers movie. He said the whole experience was a nightmare.
Oh.
He said that he and John Leguizamo got drunk before each and every day of filming and continued to drink between takes. That
awesome.
Mario and Luigi were drunk. They were just plastered for the entire making of this movie.
That
tracks honestly.
Yeah, that just adds so much to what we just watched.
It really sucks that production was apparently that miserable, that everybody was just miserable. And it sucks even more that this film is not as appreciated as I think it should be.
Well, because Jack Hoskins, son of Bob Hoskins, is a fan of the Mario series, and he said he likes the movie and that his dad had a good performance in it.
He did.
Great. Awesome. He did have a good... He had an excellent performance in it.
It was fun.
And he didn't seem to enjoy it, but this was kind of John Leguizamo's breaking. This was his first big role, and we like John Leguizamo. He's great in anything. When he shows him John Wick 2, he's fantastic. When he's in the menu, he's great. So we can thank this movie for, partially helping his career take off.
Why'd you pick John Wick 2?
Because I enjoy when John Leguizamo shows up in John Wick 2.
Yeah.
It's just funny that you say this was like the biggest. This was where his career lifted off, and then he appeared in John Wick 2. No. He appears in like the first 5 minutes of John Wick 1.
No, but
just an odd choice.
But that's just where I appreciate it, and that's not. He also had numerous roles for 20 years before that. But
yeah,
I know it's just funny that's what you like. This is the launching point of his career, and then he appeared in John Wick 2.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, what else did he? No, that was his whole thing, and then he was in the menu. So this, to me, I think is fantastic. This is Nanar. This is a great kickoff episode. This is seems awesome. Like troubled production. Everybody involved hated it. It was like when it came out, it was panned. Nobody liked it upon release. It commercially failed. But now, 30 years later, we're just like, hey, there's some gold coins in them hills. There's something to enjoy here. Like this is some Kino right here. I think this is quintessential Nanar.
It has a 29% audience rating and a 29% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
It brought the audience and the critics together.
Synchronicity.
Yeah, I can see the critic rating, but honestly, I think this should have a much.
This
higher
should have a
audience
higher
rating.
audience rating. I mean,
This was like
I think
I had a great
if the
time.
Blu-ray was more
Unironic
widely
great time.
available, if more people were going back and watching this, if it was available streaming, if it was
That's true.
Blu-rays
it's
were
really hard to
available,
watch this.
I think
movie.
we would see that audience score tick up.
It's
It really
difficult
should.
to watch this.
it's difficult to find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean? Yeah.
I think
No, this is like I'd say 3.5 stars liked it.
I put 3 stars liked it on Letterboxd.
this is like 3 stars.
Yeah.
Liked it for me. Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm rating
Solid.
just like the quality of the filmmaking, like the writing really brings it down.
Yeah.
But 3 stars liked it. That
But
was
it's
my
fun,
Letterboxd
yeah.
review.
But I think if you were to be, maybe the 29 isn't. If you were to ask a 1993 audience, I think that audience score would be lower. If you were to ask a 2020 audience, I think that audience score would be higher. So just assume if you're watching this for the first time, if you've never watched it before, and you're going to watch it in the year 2024, it's probably like a 45% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
If
Like
enough people
adjusted
watch
for
it.
inflation, like for our modern
Adjusted
sensibilities.
for inflation.
No, and it's a pretty good time. You gotta trust the fungus.
Gotta trust the
I
fungus.
can't stress this enough. This is going to be the first time. I think in Machete we did recommend people watch Machete, but that doesn't really count. Like we knew that going in. Just watch this movie. It's worth it.
Steven
If you can
See
find
It
it.
All, for the podcast Steven See It All, generally assume our recommendation is don't watch whatever title you're seeing on your podcast like feed, like whatever you're listening to, the episode name. We're gonna say don't watch that movie.
Of course.
But for Chronicles of Nanarnia, I'm not gonna say every movie we're gonna recommend you watch.
No.
Yeah. No,
Don't make that promise now. I don't want to.
But more of
Cash
them.
that.
Absolutely not.
I think for Chronicles of
More of them,
Nanarnia,
yes.
either every movie we would recommend you watch, or every movie, like if I could, like strap every single audience member, like handcuff them to a chair and force them to watch it, I would do that. It would be like one of the two. You should watch this, or I will make you watch this.
I really liked this. I gave it 3 stars, but I loved watching this. This was a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun.
I
It
might
was a
strap
great
someone
ride.
to a chair and force them to watch this. It's
Watch
great.
the extended cut. We'll watch the extended cut next.
Oh,
I
yeah.
do want to watch the
I really want to watch the
cut. I
extended
need to
cut.
see.
Yeah. I
need
cannot
to
say
see
I have
that.
ever desired to watch the extended cut of any Seagal movie, but I definitely want to watch the extended cut of this.
Is there an extended cut of any Seagal
I
movie?
hope not.
I mean, we did talk about on Deadly Ground how his original speech at the end was like supposed to be like 15 minutes or something, but
Okay,
Yeah.
but that
I don't
actually
want to
I
watch
do.
that.
I know I do. I want to. I
that I
would
want to
love
watch.
to have
Then we would
the
get
full
halfway
cut.
through, and then I would say, okay, I don't want to watch this anymore. That's the only one I can think of.
11 minutes that they cut down to 4 minutes.
And boy, that 4 minutes feels like 11 minutes.
It
We
does.
learned how to make engines that run on algae, and the oil companies don't want
So-
you to know.
So I guess we're used to the format of Steven See It All, where we say like, what should you watch instead? So maybe not like a what you should watch instead, but like, I guess
No, just constantly reinforce that you should watch this for like 10 minutes, and then we fade
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Because that's what we've been doing.
like if people like to say that people including Hans will tell me that like, oh, you made me watch this. You made me. People always accuse me of making them watch things. I don't make people watch things. But if I could make you watch something, I would make you watch Super Mario Brothers, the 1993 live action film.
You don't make people watch movies in that you don't literally force them into a chair and keep them there until they've watched the whole movie.
should, though.
You do, however, guilt trip hard.
I don't
You
think I
do.
guilt tripped you into watching the
You
Room.
do. You do. Not The Room. No, I wanted to watch The Room because
You're gonna have to watch it again. That's gonna be one of
that
these
is
episodes.
the universal.
Which, so
like, that
actually-
is
so-
the movie when you're talking about Nanar.
So here, question.
No,
I
when we
think
watch The Room, we have to watch The Room together, the three of us, and we have to be drunk.
Oh, no.
Like, there's no. We have to watch it together. We have to be drunk, and we have to not have to drive anywhere that evening.
And we
like,
have
there's
to,
no
like-
way I can watch that movie by myself.
and we have to
It's
be
not
like sitting
happening.
in separate chairs. We can't be sitting on the same couch. watching it. That's a new stipulation for me. That's
really
that's not a
spread out.
stipulation I thought I had. That's a new stipulation I have. There has to be some kind of like barrier. Like there has to be a pillow or an armrest or something. Like, when we watch it, you'll know. But I think maybe so. Super Mario Brothers. This one we all just kind of agreed. Oh yeah, of course, this is going to be the first one. I think it would be fun. Maybe going forward, the premise of it is one of us is even if we're all kind of on board, if we all want to watch like, you know, The Room, it's like, oh, Zach is making us watch Room. Like, you know, for each one, maybe that's how we decide who the host is, who does the intro, who does the editing going forward.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like whoever, like, because Nanar, the way, you know, you watch 99% of these movies is that some buddy of yours is like, you got to watch this movie, it's so bad. So for like one episode will be Aaron saying, hey, you guys got to watch this movie, it's so bad. One will be Han saying, hey, you guys got to watch this, it'll be so bad. So we each get our choice of movie. And we'll do a rotation of that. How's that sound?
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Well,
That sounds fine.
Is that, we got any other thoughts?
The only other thing that ever came up when I was trying to look for this movie, is it called Super Mario Bros, Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Bros, the movie? Or Super Mario
It's
Brothers,
a little
the movie?
inconsistent. Well, because annoyingly, I've seen it as Super Mario Bros, period.
Yeah.
And I've seen Super Mario Bros, period, the movie. And seeing a period colon is very upsetting to me.
Yeah.
I do like that the tagline, because after watching the movie, then I watched the trailer. So fun fact, if you watch the trailer for this, like 80% of the trailer is from the last like 15 minutes of this movie. I think because that's the only part of the movie where they're dressed like Mario and Luigi.
Yeah.
Also, so that's a comment I have, like a small thing. This is like a small thing that bugged me. I was kind of hoping that throughout the movie, even when they weren't in full like Mario and Luigi attire, that like they had Luigi was wearing red, and like Mario was like, they should have been wearing their colors. That really bugs me. Princess Daisy was wearing purple, Luigi was wearing like a red jacket, and Mario was wearing like orange or something. Like that bugged me more.
I think they did that too.
They were mustard and ketchup in the club scene.
They had to do that, but like the whole time I'm like, why is like, there's literally when they're at dinner, like I think Mario's wearing like a green suit and Luigi's wearing like a red jacket, and I'm like, you had to do that to piss me off specifically. But the tagline is "This ain't no game," which I really appreciated.
That's great.
That's fantastic.
I love the poster too.
Poster's great.
Yeah,
it's also not what they wear in the movie.
No, not at all.
that outfit never appears.
The only thing I have left to say is that it has been over the last year and a half when I've had to sit down to watch a movie to talk about with you guys. I haven't wanted to watch the movie. I've just wanted to talk about it, and it's been a struggle. It's been a little bit painful sometimes to like force myself to sit down and watch a Steven Seagal movie. So when I thought today, like I had a long weekend, long work week so far. And I like had to sit down and watch this movie, and I was in that same mindset. And as soon as I turned this on, and that you know we get moving really quickly into this movie, and I just sat back and maybe that's why I was so relaxed, just letting this movie happen in front of me, just experiencing it, because it was such a joy to watch this and not garbage.
Did I tell you my brother started listening to our podcast?
Nice.
Yeah, my brother's a truck driver, and so he said, I heard you have a podcast, give me a link, because he spends a lot of time in the truck. And I said, we got 44 episodes out, so go for it. It's a lot of content. And he sent me a text a while back. He said, I'm on episode 7. I'm a little worried about Hans. I don't know if he's gonna make it.
Ooh. Yeah. No, that's fair.
Don't worry, he makes it.
I was
barely.
What was episode 7?
I don't remember.
Was I particularly unhappy with
What
that?
was episode 7? I don't remember.
Hold on.
Let's go back and look.
Episode 7 was episode 7 was Under Siege 2, Dark Territory.
Oh, I did not like Under Siege 2. Yeah, that explains it. I had a bad time with that one the first time around.
Your brother's gonna listen to episode 8 and be like, which is the Glimmer Man, and be like, I don't think Zach's gonna make it either. Okay, so actually 2 more things about the Mario Brothers movie. I don't know if either of these are stated in the text of the film.
How do we keep having stuff to say about this movie?
I don't know, but I have to get to bed.
Okay, that's fine. So real quick, on the Wikipedia page, whenever they say Mario's girlfriend Daniela, when you highlight, like when you hover your mouse over it, that leads you to the page for Pauline. I don't know like where they're getting that from, other than she's like the 4th woman in the Mario's, like, I don't know how Daniela is supposed to be Pauline. I don't think that's actually stated in the movie. It also says, apparently, The portal takes them to Dino Hatton. I don't know if they ever called it Dino Hatton in the movie.
I didn't hear that.
But
I didn't hear
we
that
were
once.
wondering what this world is called. They go from Oh, I just got it. I just understood. Manhattan to Dino Hatton, because instead of men, humans, it's dinosaurs.
Yeah, but they didn't.
I don't think they called it that in the movie, but this takes place in Dino Hatton.
Dino Hatton. The only city on Earth.
Yeah. So make of that what you will.
It also starts in Brooklyn,
Yeah.
which is a different place.
Yeah.
It's very much not Manhattan.
Very much not Manhattan.
But there's no. You can't make a pun on Brooklyn.
Boneland, Brooklyn. There's no. Yeah.
I don't know.
So it's not Manhattan. Make of that what you will. I don't know.
Brooklyn? I don't know.
Brooklyn. Yeah, that's the Bronx. Okay. Anyway, this has been. Okay, they literally make like a very similar joke in this movie.
Yes.
Super
Wrap
Mario
us up,
Bros.
Hans. How are we ending this one?
I don't have anything to end on.
This has
I guess.
been-
Yeah. So this has been the first episode of Chronicles of Nanarnia. We hope you liked it. If you didn't like it, doesn't matter. You got to the end. we still got the view.
Yeah, if you didn't like it and you're hearing this bit,
Woof.
how?
Wow. Then you are a committed hater. You said I'm gonna listen to the entire hour and a half.
Take that
they're
from three
talking.
committed haters. Like, congratulations.
We'll be peppering these in every so often. Just a little splash here, a little splash there. You never know.
Yeah. Also, if this is your introduction to this whole project, wow.
Yeah. That's some
They are not
confusion.
all like this.
No, they're a lot worse.
I got 49 episodes of trash you can go listen to.
We get a lot more angry. We're not nearly as enthusiastic.
Yeah, so thank you for
Specifically
having fun
for
with
me,
us.
I'm a lot more frustrated.
So thank you for having fun with us. It's been swell.
Yeah.
And remember, just like Luigi Mario says, gotta trust the fungus.
Gotta trust the fungus.
Gotta trust. Remember, like they say, trust the fungus.
Gotta trust the fungus, and everyone loves to dance.
Everyone. Okay, I'm not lying though. That song that plays, like "Get on the floor, everybody walk the dinosaur," like that's a bop.
Everybody
That's a
up,
bang. That's
get
been
on
stuck
the
in my
floor.
head ever since I
Everybody do
finished
the
that movie.
dinosaur. It's
Yeah,
great.
that's a banger.
Yeah.
I'm dancing to that in the club in my big oversized
Also,
suit,
here's
my
a
little
question:
tiny
did
head.
they steal that from our dimension, or did we somehow steal that from their dimension?
Fast! Oppressor of the proletariat!
If we're just jumping in, well,
We need to.
do we
Who's
need to
leading
do-
this one? We have.
Yeah.
I suggested-
We're
Who's
gonna have to chop up this
No one's
intro.
trying.
Yeah,
this
no. I
car.
suggested finding some sort of wacky contraption by which we find out who's going to be the leader of the
Gimmick, yeah.
episode.
Well, is there some kind of Aaron? You've read all the
Yeah.
Chronicles of Narnia books. Is there?
Oh
some
yeah,
kind
no,
of
that would probably be best.
Oh,
item there that you could tie it into.
Another pun.
well, whenever something like important needs to happen, it's like Santa Claus shows up
Yeah.
and gives them the thing that they need, or Aslan comes out of nowhere and solves the problem.
Well, okay, so Aslan's going to solve our problem.
Uh-huh.
How about we go around and you're going to name a Liam Neeson movie, and the first person who can't name a Liam Neeson movie is hosting this episode.
Okay, great.
Close Hans, close the Liam Neeson IMDb page that you
my
currently
hands
have
are up in the
bookmarked
air.
and open on
My
your
hands
screen.
are up in the air. We're
Can I go first?
We're not.
I'm very confident.
I'm not.
Taking two.
Wait, so what's
You
the,
started
is-
with Take It Two.
Is the loser the one that has
Loser
to
has
that
hosting duties.
presents?
Yeah, I just went.
Okay,
I
so
went
You,
first.
then Hans.
I finished the movie first, so I went
Me?
first, naming a Liam Neeson film.
Oh,
that
okay.
means Zach has to go next.
I mean, Taken 3.
Taken one.
Um,
Wow, what accomplished a whole heck of a lot right there.
Star
We're back
Wars
to the
Episode
beginning.
1: The Phantom Menace.
Sorry, okay. Ooh, Star Wars Episode 9: Rise of Skywalker. He does have a credit in there.
Does it have to be a film?
Like you're
That's
asking
what we said.
TV shows.
Okay.
Yeah, TV shows. I think we can count TV shows.
I think that opens too many.
Okay.
It has to
You,
be
you
a
said
feature
you,
film.
you started this off. You have to be hard and fast on these rules. You started
Yeah,
off
Hans,
Liam
you're up
Neeson's
next.
film.
Okay, fine.
Which
Atlanta,
one is-
Dairy
is
Girls,
it-
Life is Short. Those are the 3 TV shows that I could name. So movies.
I can't remember the name of the movie. I know the movie. Is it Clash of the Titans?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one?
Yeah.
There we go.
Chronicles of Narnia: The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian, is he in that one? Okay, cool.
He is.
Hans.
I feel like this is unfairly targeted at me.
It is
How
absolutely
is
not.
this unfairly targeted?
I don't have the encyclopedic knowledge of different actors. This is a much more recent thing.
Yeah, it
for
was
me
really
than it is
unfair of
you
us
two.
to ask the third host on a movie podcast to name movies. That was we super targeted.
Okay,
you.
no.
Are you throwing in the towel?
This is not a movie podcast.
You're in the hot seat.
What is this if it's not a
garbage
movie
that's super fun.
podcast?
This
Leave me
is
some movie.
garbage where we eat garbage and regurgitate it back up for our listeners who are about 8 people. I don't know. What's isn't there a third Chronicles of Narnia?
Oh yes, but what's it
Can you say
called?
the title?
I don't know. I didn't watch them.
What? Oh.
What else has he been in? He's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
That I just can't think of. I don't know. It's gonna be me. I'm not gonna come up with anything.
Oh, it's called Chronicles of Narnia: Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
There's
You almost
not
said
a chance.
Chronicles of Narnia, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so that's yours. For mine, Darkman. Okay, go, Aaron.
What is Darkman?
What's up? What Rise Up, Darkman Nation? This is the Darkman, the Sam Raimi Darkman podcast.
Is that one where the plane crashes? Is it called The Wolf?
No, you're thinking of the Gray.
The Gray. Thanks. You're up, Zach.
Okay, does that? No, that counts as mine. You didn't even.
No,
say
I said the title.
Ooh, Schindler's List. Duh. Okay.
Oh, duh.
He was in Schindler's List?
He was
Yeah,
Schindler.
he's the main character.
He made the list.
I've never seen it. Literally, the only thing I know about Schindler's List is that
He's the
there was
titular
a
character.
Seinfeld plot around it.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I had another one in my head.
Do we need to keep going? This falls to me,
well,
right?
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
kind of just want to know.
I don't think I can think of any more.
Wow, you making fun of me, but you guys only made it one more each.
Yeah.
No, at least 2 more each, because Aaron had another. He had the Gray and Chronicles.
He didn't
of
even
Narnia.
get that one. You did.
I
Aaron
knew
and
what
I are in
I
the same
knew what
spot right now. Get out of here.
I knew the movie. It was a one word. He fought wolves in it.
Yes. I don't remember what it's called, but he did the Snowplow movie.
The Snowplow movie?
He
Yeah.
kills dudes with a snowplow.
Yeah.
Oh, he did that Air Marshal movie too.
What?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
wait, he was in the A-Team. How did I forget the A-Team?
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I haven't
Anyway.
seen that.
We're getting way off
Yeah.
topic here. This is not the point.
Yeah. Hey. Also, you know who notably is not in 1993 Super Mario Brothers movie? Liam Neeson.
Was she corpulent? Very corpulent?